Welcome. In this video, we will introduce digital rights and their role in the ever-evolving technological landscape of today. What are digital rights? Well, digital rights are simply human rights that are applied within the digital spaces that we interact with today. And so this includes such principles as online privacy, which is the ability to access whichever information you need or would like to access without any observation or other interference in your business. Security, the ability to store and share information without that information being taken from you or observed by a third party for nefarious purposes. Intellectual freedom, which is the ability to access whichever information you would like or need to access. Censorship, the blocking or prevention of certain information from reaching certain people in the online sphere, particularly. And digital literacy, the ability to interact with digital technologies and find the information that is going to be of greatest relevance to you, uh, greatest ability to satisfy your information need while interacting with that information in the digital sphere. Much of our lives today are lived within the digital world. From birth, we are introduced to various digital technologies in different formats. We use at a very early age things like smartphones and tablets and televisions to get information and to share information with others. We may be FaceTiming with a grandparent at the age of a few months. So we are exposed at a very young age to digital technology, and our exposure only tends to grow as we age. Most of our work lives are carried out in a very much digital world for the majority of the time. We are interacting, we are watching videos on our smartphones, we are reading news stories on our tablets, we are sending emails, we are engaging in text messaging, and that starts at a very young age. So nowadays, we spend just as much time in our digital worlds as we do in our physical worlds, meaning that it is equally important to understand and consider ethics within the context of the digital world as it is to think about it within the context of our physical worlds. Today, much of the evolution in our digital technologies outpaces the growth of ethical considerations. So we can think about a technology like ChatGPT and large language models. In this case, we have a technology that emerged quite rapidly in late 2022 and early 2023 and was quickly adopted rapidly, quicker than any prior website or technology that we know of was adopted by hundreds of millions. And in the time that it was developed, there was very little time to consider a response from an ethical standpoint, from a legal standpoint. In fact, we still lack sufficient resources, sufficient legislation to guide how to navigate certain ethical principles and considerations like the ones previously mentioned when it comes to large language models. And so, in the discussion of digital rights, we are constantly thinking about how do we speed up this process of ensuring rights are protected as the pace of innovation for digital technologies also increases very rapidly. However, digital rights are not always straightforward. In fact, they are often very opaque and challenging to navigate, and they require some balance. There are considerable monetary factors when it comes to emerging digital technologies. Some of our most high cap companies in terms of market share are digital companies, tech companies, Microsoft, Facebook, Meta. Um, OpenAI is becoming a major player in our digital sphere, and these companies are worth hundreds of millions, if not billions, tens of billions, hundreds of billions, and trillions of dollars each. And so, of course, these players are going to have a major say in what our technological ecosystem looks like. And they're also going to have some role in what digital rights look like. Anytime we try to pass some kind of legislation or guidelines for developers, these players are going to be involved and have their voices heard as well. And so, because of that, we have to often compromise what we might think is the ideal from an ethical standpoint. For instance, privacy, we may think a pure right to privacy in all cases would be ideal, but that's not ideal from the perspective of the people developing these tools who may want to use your data in order to improve their models, to improve their tools, to improve their website. And so we have to strike a balance between what is highly personal information that would put people at risk if we're not protecting, and what is data that people may need to agree to some privacy agreement, but otherwise we could collect it and use it for developing our websites further. So there's certainly a balance with all of these perspectives: censorship, intellectual freedom, what are we going to give people access to? What do we trust people to access for responsible reasons versus using for reasons of abuse and undue financial gain? So, this is just a brief introduction, and I would like for you to have the opportunity to study some of these concepts further. So, here are just a few resources for you to check out if you'd like to explore the broad topic of digital rights a bit further. The Digital Freedom Fund's Digital Rights and Human Rights document is a great resource talking about what is digital rights, what is human rights, and where do these intersect. And then there's a great introduction to digital rights that actually comes from the African Digital Rights Network, and that is a great resource as well to get a more global perspective on some of these issues. So both of these resources will be linked for you in the description to enjoy. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please stay tuned and we will see you in our next recording. Thank you.